My name is Chris Davis. I work for a company named Jacobs, and I'd like to present a little information about an open source project called Grafana that I think you might find interesting. So from Grafana's webpage, which is grafana.com, they publish their information. They're a dashboard for anything. They observe things. They're there to query and visualize, alert, and understand your data, no matter where it's published or where it's from. Some of you may use Grafana. Quick raise of hands. You've used Grafana, heard of it before? All right, heard of it, not used it, but here's my encouragement to use it. My summary, it is an open source web-based data visualization platform. It can be tied into a lot of different projects. I'm going to show you a few of how I've tied it into projects that I've done and done with my company. And I think it's a great way to provide some data visualizations to your customers. It's also a really interesting way to provide data visualization on things like DevOps and things like that, because it's got some interesting tie-ins there. Grafana is often used in data centers and for DevOps teams because it has a lot of capabilities to graph slow captured data over time, and has some nice ways to bring that up in browsers. So it's got visualizations similar to what LabVIEW has, time history graphs, gauges, numerics with a graph, bar charts, tables. It's got a new Canvas tool that allows you to kind of create your own using SVG, and has the ability to display chunks of HTML. It does have SVG capabilities, flowcharting, geomaps. It uses a plugin system to allow you to pull data into and put on that dashboard. There's plugins already written for things like MySQL, Postgres, Redis, Microsoft SQL, MongoDB, Cassandra, SQLite, Google Sheets, MQTT, which was brought up, and Kafka, which Brian brought up. So I'd like to talk to Brian about what he uses Kafka for. So how do I use it, right? So I've got a few dashboards here on the right-hand side. I wanted to show you. We use it for Jacobs around our offices for displaying IoT data that we want to be able to show our customers. We have used it to display live test data. We use it to display YouTube videos, GraphViz generated images, which Jim mentioned yesterday. It also has the capability to put buttons on the screen and allow you to hit REST APIs. It's got rules-based alerts in it. It can hit email, it can hit you over Teams, it can hit you over Slack, and it can hit you over Discord, hit you a lot of different places that I've never heard of. But it's also easy enough to allow users to generate their own dashboards, right? So these are not just ones that you would have to create. Grafana is such a system. It's got a user-based login system that allows you to go in and make your own dashboards, or allow your users to create your own dashboards. Because it is a web browser-based interface, it's responsively designed. It works on your mobile phones, on your tablets. It works just fine on your browsers. And then if you've got test data, or if you've got data in a graph, it provides some really nice ways to download it as a CSV file already built into those graphing capabilities. You might be asking, well, how do I talk to it from LabVIEW? There's many different ways. The plugins I mentioned, like writing to a database, simply as that, just adding a new line to a time series database. You might publish data to MQTT, which was mentioned a little bit before. You might publish data to Redis. You might write something to a SQLite database file. You might even write some GWeb development toolkit HTML and have it run in a small portion of Grafana to be able to pull data in a custom way. One of the ways that we use it around our office is to take one of those, those free TVs when you walk into Walmart and they practically hand you a TV when they shake your hand and say, hey, thanks for coming to Walmart. Those like 65-inch monstrosities well, we've got 6 or 8 of those around our walls on campus, and we've got a lot of different things like weather over here, like the week's weather, the wind and rain coming. This one up here to the upper left is a set of dashboards or a set of graphs about virtual machine cluster that we have. I mentioned the GraphViz generated images, right? So that's a flow chart down here in the bottom left that I generated. I generate programmatically to let people know what time it is. Granted, it's not a great flow chart, but it's a way. It's more of a dog fooding to say, if you've got a flow chart, if you've got something that you are flow charting or you want to be able to show this, Grafana is a way to have this come up. Grafana has something called playlists, And so what essentially we've got behind these TVs is a small computer. We've used Raspberry Pi 4s for this. Currently, I'm replacing those Raspberry Pi 4s with small Dell used Optiplex servers or computers, just because they're actually a little bit cheaper than the Raspberry Pis right now. But slap that behind the TV, put Ubuntu 22.04 on it, put a little startup script that says start up the web browser, go to this web page, run it indefinitely, reboot once a day kind of situations. And you've got yourself a digital dashboard. You can put YouTube videos in it. You can put, you can put data, you can put images. So let's see, yeah, one of these, let me go back. This guy right here is a Raspberry Pi camera looking at our parking lot, taking a picture once a minute, and then every 10 minutes a time history video is generated on a server and displayed in that upper right. So if you've got questions, come find me afterwards. I know I'm running a little short on time, so I wanted to drop a couple other name drops. I've mentioned GraphViz. Brian mentioned Kafka. I've mentioned Redis, and I haven't mentioned Timescale DB, but these are all interesting open source projects. Come find me if you want to talk about them, if you want to just explore them on your own. I think these are all really interesting tie-ins for LabVIEW. I think there's a lot of things that we could use in our community from these open source projects. Thank you for your time.
A special thanks goes out to Kevin Shirey, Quentin Q. Aldridge, Mark Balla, and Jeff DeBoer for their help in filming. And of course, this GDevCon NA 2023 wouldn't be possible without all of our sponsors. Thanks.